Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine for a moment you're deep into planning your next big hunting season. You've got the perfect spot leased, gears prepped, dates marked on the calendar. Maybe it's spring turkeys or, you're already counting down to fall deer season. Everything seems to be falling into place. But then you hit that snag, insurance.
Ah, yes, the insurance hurdle.
Exactly. You start calling around, and it feels like every policy wants to start January 1st or maybe the first of a quarter. It's completely out of sync with your actual lease agreement. It just doesn't quite fit your schedule.
Right. It feels like the system is built for someone else's convenience, definitely not yours.
Sound familiar? I bet it does for a lot of folks. This kind of mismatch where, your life has to bend to some company's arbitrary schedule, it's incredibly frustrating. Well, today we're diving into a really insightful piece from the American Hunting Lease Association blog, the AHLA. It's titled, Choose Your Start Date. The author is Connor Hermesh, their marketing manager, and it went up February 1st, 2022. Our mission really for this deep dive is to explore how AHLA is tackling this exact problem, making insurance a necessity, right? Actually work for the individual.
Yeah, not the other way around.
Not forcing you to conform to the insurer. I think it's more than just policy details. It feels like a philosophy, putting the hunter and landowner first.
What's fascinating here, I think, is how pervasive that problem really is. It's not just hunting leases. We run into services all the time that are, well, designed mostly for the provider's ease, not the user.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like trying to start a gym membership mid-month or getting a repair scheduled only on their available days.
Exactly. So this piece from HLA, it really highlights a refreshing counter-narrative. It stands out, especially in the often rigid world of insurance. And for anyone who's ever dealt with the lease, hunting, but also commercial property, maybe even renting equipment, understanding these insurance start date nuances, it's more than just a detail.
It's a game changer, you said earlier.
It really is. It directly impacts your coverage, your budget, and honestly, your peace of mind when you're using that land. So the core insight we're going to dig into is AHLA's commitment offering policies that can start any month, every single month, specifically designed to line up with your lease timeline. That level of flexibility, it's genuinely noteworthy, maybe even a bit revolutionary for the insurance sector.
That's a really powerful point, and it touches on something deep in many industries. Connor Hermesh in the article says, your hunting lease insurance should work for you, not the insurance company. He's hitting the nerve there, I think. Because traditionally, insurance policies, they're built on these fixed annual cycles, right? You buy it Jan 1st, it auto-renews on a set date. And that's just how it is.
The standard model.
But hunting leases, they're rarely that neat. Think about it. A lease might kick off in March for turkey season. Or maybe August, getting ready for deer season. It could be short-term, maybe 3 months, or even run for, say, 18 months, not a clean year.
Right. The real world isn't always in neat 12-month blocks.
Exactly. So if your insurance company sticks to those rigid annual cycles, well, you're left with tough choices. You might end up paying for coverage you don't need for a month or two just to bridge that gap to their cycle.
Wasted money.
Or much worse, you could have a gap in coverage, even just a few weeks, leaving you totally exposed during maybe the most critical part of your hunting season.
And that's not just an inconvenience.
No. It's a potential financial burden or like a full-on risk management nightmare.
Absolutely. And, the reason traditional insurers often operate this way, it's usually not out of malice. It's more about their operational realities deep down. A lot of the older legacy insurance systems, built on batch processing, standardized annual terms, it just simplifies things for them.
Okay, yeah. Makes sense from their side. Actuarial calculations, administration.
Right. Think of the sheer volume of policies. It's much easier to manage if they all start on the first or maybe first of the quarter. To deviate from that requires a pretty significant investment in more sophisticated back-end systems. Systems that can handle pro rata premiums, custom start dates, basically on demand.
So it's about infrastructure and process changes.
And updating regulatory approvals sometimes for non-standard terms. It often involves a shift in the whole organizational mindset too.
Right.
So when HLA says explicitly, so it matches your lease start date, not the convenience for us, well, it's not just a tagline.
It feels like a statement.
It is a statement. It's telling you they've actually taken on that administrative complexity. They've invested in the tech and the processes to handle monthly starts, flexible durations. They're shifting that burden from you, the customer, onto themselves. And that focus, that's really where user-centric models shine. Recognizing that customers shouldn't have to adapt their real life to fit the provider's internal system.
And that's where it gets really, really interesting in practice. This whole choose your start date idea.
Huh.
It's not just revolutionary in theory, it's incredibly practical.
Hmm.
Let's say your prime hunting lease starts, I don't know, April 15th. Precisely.
Okay.
With HLA, your insurance can and will start precisely April 15th. You're not pushed into starting May 1st,
Yep.
leaving you exposed for those first 2 crucial weeks.
No gap.
And you're not pressured to start April 1st, paying for 2 weeks of coverage you don't need yet.
Right. No overlap, no waste.
That direct alignment just gets rid of those common pain points, the coverage gaps, the costly overlaps, that feeling you're paying for something you're not using.
Peace of mind alone is huge there.
Huge. Instead of stressing about liability, you're focused on scouting, setting up stands, actually enjoying being outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And the financial impact, it can be pretty significant. If you're paying for, say, 2 unnecessary months on maybe a $500 annual policy, that's nearly $85 just gone for nothing.
Yeah. Multiply that across thousands of leases.
Exactly. You see the collective benefit of this kind of flexible thinking. It
Mm.
really adds up.
It genuinely speaks to a deeper understanding of the customer's actual needs, something companies talk about a lot, but rarely execute with this kind of precision. Leases just aren't one size fits all. They never have been, so the services tied to them shouldn't be either.
Makes perfect sense.
And this flexibility, it's crucial for, well, efficient land management and just responsible outdoor activity. Think about a landowner. Maybe they lease out a section just for hunting during specific seasons, right? But they use the land differently the rest of the year.
Okay.
With rigid annual policies, they'd be paying for hunting lease insurance when it's not even being hunted on. Or worse, juggling multiple overlapping policies for different seasonal uses. It gets complicated fast.
So that simplifies things for them, too.
Absolutely. The ability to start and end coverage exactly when needed. It optimizes resources. It makes insurance a supportive tool, not just another bureaucratic hurdle. Reduces friction for both sides of the lease agreement. Lets them focus on the actual outdoor experience, not administrative headaches.
Which is what everyone wants, right?
Exactly. Especially when you consider that a simple lapse in coverage, even just for a few days, could lead to, devastating financial consequences if there's an accident or a liability claim.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that gap. And it's impressive that this isn't just for one type of policy either. AHLA seems to have baked this user-first idea into their whole suite of offerings. Stuff that's essential for anyone involved with outdoor land use.
Right, it's comprehensive.
For individual hunters, they've got the Hunting Lease Club insurance, which is vital, right, for protecting against potential liabilities on leased land. And when we say potential liabilities, we mean things like a hunter accidentally injuring someone, maybe damaging the landowner's property.
Or even just legal defense costs if someone sues over, say, a tree stand accident or something.
Exactly. So tailoring that start date means you're covered right when you need to be. No gaps during hunting season. But it goes further, like you said. They also have guides and outfitters insurance, recognizing that professionals have unique needs.
Very different risk profile sometimes.
Yeah. A guide might only operate certain seasons, waterfowl in the fall, fishing trips in the summer, An annual policy means paying for off-season coverage they don't need. Just eats into their margins.
Yeah, cash flow is critical for small businesses like that.
So this flexibility helps them manage their business better, ensures they're covered only when clients are actually out there.
And importantly, this commitment extends strongly to landowners, too. AHLA offers vacant land insurance for people who own undeveloped property, protects them from general liabilities even when it's not actively leased.
Okay.
But also, directly relevant here, they offer the Hunting Lease Club insurance for landowners who are leasing out their property. So the beauty is, it doesn't matter which side of the lease you're on, hunter or landowner, or your specific role, the insurance can be custom scheduled, your exact start date, your exact duration.
That's pretty neat. Covers all the bases.
It really reflects a modern understanding of customer needs in what is a pretty specialized niche. You contrast this with the older insurance models, often rigid, bureaucratic, designed more for the insurer's processing than the policyholder's actual life.
Yeah, the old way.
This choose your start date model isn't just about flexibility. It acknowledges the dynamic, seasonal, often variable nature of using outdoor land. Like maybe a farmer leases out just a small parcel for bow hunting for only 2 months. This flexibility means they aren't forced into carrying that specific insurance for periods when the land isn't leased for hunting. It optimizes their costs, their risk management. It just makes sense.
It really does simplify things. Takes a huge worry off the table for both parties, I imagine. You know you're covered from day one of your lease for the exact time you need it. Not a moment more, not a moment less.
Mhm.
It's just a clear example of how a service provider can add real value by actually listening to customer pain points and designing solutions around them.
Yeah, it's more than just insurance. It's about empowering people to manage their outdoor activities with, well, more freedom and less hassle.
It does make me wonder, though, what kind of challenges does this create for AHLA internally? I mean, it's great for the customer, obviously, but offering such specific flexibility must add complexity for them, right?
Right.
Are there any, like, hidden trade-offs for us, the consumers? Or is it truly win-win?
That's a really good question. And yeah, it's important to think about. For AHLA, the win-win comes from making that strategic investment we talked about in their internal systems, their processes.
Right, the back-end stuff.
Exactly. They've likely built sophisticated systems that can handle real-time policy issuing, pro rata premiums, managing way more start and end dates than traditional insurers. That's a big operational lift, no doubt. But the trade-off for them is they gain a huge competitive advantage, and they build serious customer loyalty.
Okay, so they absorb the complexity.
Pretty much. And for the consumer, this flexibility generally translates to pure benefit. I don't see hidden trade-offs like higher premiums for the same coverage, because the efficiency you gain by aligning perfectly with the lease often offsets any minor administrative cost difference. See, the real cost to the consumer with the old rigid policies wasn't necessarily a higher premium for the same coverage period.
Right, is paying for coverage you didn't need.
Exactly. Paying for unnecessary coverage or, far worse, the potential financial catastrophe from a gap in coverage.
Okay, that makes sense.
So in this context, it genuinely feels like a significant advantage for the hunter and the landowner. AHLA took on the internal complexity to give us a seamless experience.
So let's wrap this up then. What does this all mean? We've really dug into how the American Hunting Lease Association is prioritizing, well, the convenience and the real needs of its members, both hunters and landowners, by offering these flexible insurance start dates that actually align with a lease's calendar.
It's a smart response to a common problem.
Yeah, moving away from that rigid, one-size-fits-all approach. The key takeaway, I think, is simple. You can get comprehensive policies starting any month, designed specifically to match your lease start date, not the insurer's convenience or some arbitrary date. And we saw how this applies across different vital insurance types, the hunting lease or a club insurance for both sides, the specialized guides and outfitters insurance, and even vacant land insurance. It's a whole package. And, while we focused hard on the insurance aspect, it feels like this user-focused way of thinking runs through everything AHLA does.
Seems that way.
From their blog, their shop, Lease Spotter, those resource guys.
Yeah.
They really seem geared towards serving their community comprehensively.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, this kind of user-centric design, where a company actually molds its offerings around the customer's real needs instead of making the customer conform, that's a powerful model and increasingly necessary, I think. It really raises an important question for you listening right now.
Okay.
Think about it. Beyond hunting leases, where else in your life could a service or a product be dramatically better if it truly adapted to your unique timeline, your circumstances, instead of forcing you into, a predetermined box?
Good question.
What hidden costs or just plain inconveniences do fixed dates, rigid schedules, standardized cycles impose on your life? Whether it's, travel, subscriptions, healthcare appointments, even getting services for your home. And maybe more importantly, what opportunities are you missing out on when that flexibility isn't there? Just consider the peace of mind, the practical benefits, the sheer efficiency that comes from that kind of alignment. It's not just about hunting, right? It's about, efficient living and maybe demanding that the services we use actually serve us.
That's a fantastic thought to leave people with. Really makes you think. So if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, maybe made you think about ensuring your own outdoor adventures are covered properly on your terms, you can check out the American Hunting Lease Association. Their website is huntinglease.org. And the article that kicked off our conversation today was Choose Your Start Date by Connor Hermesh. Worth a read. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into making insurance actually work for you. We certainly hope you found it as interesting and thought-provoking as we did.